By that time, what you can do is you can give your attendance in the chat box. We will wait for 2 minutes more and we will start the class at 11:24 a.m. By that time, you all can give your attendance in the chat box.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. Okay, it's 11:24 a.m. Let us start the class. Can you see my slides? If any one of you can respond whether you can see my slides or not.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Fine, fine. Okay, let me give you a brief summary of what we did in the last class. We took one problem, one structural analysis problem, and we used the concept of FEM to discretize the given problem into several elements, and we found out the nodal displacement of this particular problem due to subjected to this axial load P. Also, we have calculated that for the same problem, how much will each and every element will exert stress as well as strain. So what I recall is that we in the last class we have discussed till this much part. Yes? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? I cannot hear you. Is
Yes,
anyone?
sir. Yes.
Okay. Fine, fine, fine. So let us continue our discussion from where we left in the last class. Next topic is the type of elements and their shapes in FEM. See, in FEM, the most important part is the selection of element and their shapes. Before discretizing, you have to while discretizing the given geometry into some finite number of elements, you have to decide by looking at the geometry that the entire geometry will be divided into how many elements and what will be the shape of each and every individual element. Fine. So in FEM, often the type of element to be used will be evident from the physical problem itself and the geometry of the body. That means you have to analyze the geometry. After analyzing, accordingly, you have to divide that entire geometry into some finite number of element. But the question is here, what will be the shape of the element? I know that okay, I will divide my given geometry into 100 finite element, but what will be the shapes of those 100 finite element? Will the shape of those 100 finite element will always be a rectangle, will always be a triangle, or will always be a line element, and so on? That is, we have to decide. For that, we should know that what are the different types of shapes and elements are available in FEM. According to dimensions, we can classify elements into three types. First one is called one dimensional element. Second one is your two dimensional element. And the third one is your three dimensional element. That is this one. Yes, this one is your three dimensional element. So let us understand that what are the different shapes and sizes of one dimensional, two dimensional, and three dimensional elements are available to us. Fine. So, what are one dimensional elements? These elements are suitable for analysis of one dimensional problems. That means if I am having any problem, and if in that problem, due to application of external load, only change in one dimension is happening, that change can be change in displacement, can be change in size, can be change in the stress value, anything. But my question is, what if the change is happening only along one direction? Then I will go for one dimensional elements. Those elements are also known as line elements. They are also known as linear elements. For example, if you see the first figure, this is an element consisting of two nodes, node 1 and node 2. And this entire element is moving along positive x direction. That means node 1 and node 2 is having only 1 degree of freedom. Similarly, if I see the second figure consists of two elements with three nodes. Initially, initially the element was single element and two nodes was there. Then second time what I am doing, I am dividing the same element into two different elements. First element is element E1 having nodes 1 and node 3. Second element is element E2 with node 3 and node 2. Here also if you see, all the nodes, degree of freedom of all the nodes are along in are along only in one direction. Whatever stress, whatever strain value you will get for each and every element, that will be along one direction. But if you look at the third and the fourth figure, this is also a one dimensional element. This is also a one dimensional element, but we will call this one dimensional element as higher order one dimensional element. Higher order one dimensional element. If you check this diagram, if you check this figure, this is what? This is a quadratic three node element. This is a quadratic three node element. That means I have derived this element from the shape functions of order y is equal, say f of x is equal to ax square plus bx plus c. If I follow that expression, and if I find out the value of x, say x is what? X is displacement of each node. If I change the value of x starting from x equal to 0 till x equal to 10, I will get different sets of those values. So likewise, if you plot, you will get such kind of elements. So this is your quadratic three noded element. It can
Sir,
be
it is a three node element, but sir, what is the meaning of quadratic three node, sir?
quadratic means, see, I have told you in the last class that in FEM, if you want to know what is happening in between the element, that is for element E1, node is your starting node is 1 and your ending node is second node. In between, what is happening? In between, what is the displacement? How you can find out? You can find out by the help of shape functions, approximation functions. That approximation function can be linear. If it is linear, you are getting, see, this is a linear one dimensional element. The second figure is a linear approximated shape function, one dimensional element with three nodes. But here I am changing the order or degree of the shape function or approximation function to get more accurate result. So here, if you want to see the nature of this element E1, starting from node 1 to node 2, in between anywhere, if you want to see the nature, what this element means due to application of load, what is happening in this element, what is the nature of the displacement in between the element, you can use shape functions. So here I have used quadratic polynomial shape functions. Say if you want to know the displacement at this particular point, you use the quadratic polynomial shape function, that is fx is equal to ax square plus bx plus c. Then you know that this point is nothing but x is equal to say zero point 0.7 meter. From nodal point 1 to nodal point 2, the length of the element is say 1 meter. You are interested to know the behavior of the displacement of this element at x equal to zero point 0.7 meter. You will substitute the value of x equal to zero point 0.7 meter and you will know what is the nature. Understood? So that's why I am telling it
Yes, sir.
as hello.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, so I am
जी
just
sir,
giving it
बोलिए.
a name. It can be a quadratic, it can be a cubic. Unless I do the analysis part, I cannot tell whether it is a quadratic element
Yes, sir. Yes,
or
sir.
it is an cubic element or it is a linear approximated shape functions element. Fine, I'm just giving it a name. When we will solve problems, we will come to know how this cubic is coming, how this quadratic is coming, how this linear element is coming. Fine. So this example, this is nothing but cubic four noded elements. That means the pattern, it is cubic approximation I have did in between if I want to know the nature of the element. Is it clear? These one dimensional elements.
Sir, can you repeat why is it called a higher order element?
Higher order means, see, if you take the first and the second figure, if you see here, my order degree of polynomial, I have used this single order. That means fx is equal to x plus b. Second order, from second order onwards, I will call each and every element to be higher order element, higher order one dimensional element. If it is higher order one dimensional element, I can say that approximating function can be ax square plus bx plus c. If I talk about higher order two dimensional element, my approximating function will become f of x comma y equal to x square y square plus a b x y plus constant c likewise. Now understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay. So this is your one dimensional element. Next is it is not necessary because since the geometries which we analyze by FEM, those are very complex geometries, so it is not possible every time for us to use one dimensional elements. So in order to get better results, in order to get accurate results, we normally use some we normally use, say, two-dimensional elements also. What are these two-dimensional elements? That means each node will have 2 degrees of freedom. That means each node will move along x-axis also, along y-axis also. If I keep, or if I take my geometry in xy plane, if I take my geometry in yz plane, each node can move along y-axis also and along z-axis also, and vice versa. So to solve two-dimensional problems, we need 2D elements. Common 2D problems that we solve in FEM are stress analysis problems of plate problems, plane stress and plane strain problems. What are plane stress and plane strain problems? Plane stress
Sigma
and
30.
problems means sigma z is equal to 0,
Yes,
means
sir.
whatever thing you are taking in z direction, it will be 0. You are only focusing along x direction and y direction. Strain along x direction and y direction, if you are focusing, you will call it as a plane strain problem. If you are telling that you want to find out sigma x of this element, sigma y of this element, but if sigma z is 0, then you will call it as plane stress problem. Likewise, you can solve the plate problems also. You can solve the plate problems also. For example, if I want to explain this 2D element in terms of plate problems, what I can say is that, wait, can you see the screen now, white screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what? This is a plate. Fine. This is a plate. Now, if I want to discretize this plate into some finite element, how I can discretize? Can you use 1D element to discretize this problem? Hello? Can you use 1D elements to discretize this problem?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
We can use the line element to discretize it.
You can use line element. For that, you have to divide the entire geometry into thousand millions of line elements. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir. Yes, sir.
And that is, practically it is possible, but theoretically it is not possible. So in order to make it happen theoretically, I cannot use 1D element. I have to go for 2D element. That element can be a triangular element, that element can be a rectangular element, that element can be a quadrilateral element, and so on. So what we can do is that we can divide the entire geometry like this. Understood? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Now see, if I take this particular, if I am interested in this particular element, let us draw it. This is that element having 4 nodes: node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4. So we call normally this element as rectangular element. Similarly, you can you can make this, you can make any type of elements. You can make it a triangular element also. How you will make? Now see. Now it is a triangular element, yes or no? See?
Yes, sir.
It is a triangular element. So if I am interested what is happening in this particular element, what I will do, let us draw it separately. See, this is a triangular element with 3 nodes: node 1, node 2, node 3. That means basically what I am trying to say is that type of element will be defined by the user by looking at the geometry. According to the geometry, you have to decide whether you have to go for one-dimensional element or you have to go for two-dimensional element. Again, in one-dimensional element, just now only I have told you, many possibilities are there. Again, in two-dimensional element, now I will show you, there are many type of elements you can make. You can make a quadrilateral element, you can make a rectangular element, you can make a triangular element. But the main objective is you have to make the element in such a way that it should completely satisfy all the boundary conditions, all the physics of the problem, or the entire geometry. Means it is not like that you are taking with your own choice any random geometry. You cannot take like that. You have to see that whether the geometry which you are taking is existing in nature or not. Fine. So see, so normally we use the most common type of two-dimensional element is a CST element. It is known as constant strain triangular element. That means this element is called constant strain triangular element, CST element. This element has three nodes, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you want to define this CST element in terms of 1D element, how you will define? This CST element is nothing but three one-dimensional element. That means this is one element, this is second element, this is third element. If you are talking about 1D, three 1D element comprises one CST element. Are you getting my point? But if you are talking in 2D, you will take the entire element as one single element. That means this element is one single element. I will consider consisting of three nodes. If I talk about 1D, this is 1 plus 2 plus 3. If I talk about 1D, I will have to write like this. Yes or no? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Is it clear to other बाकी लोगों को clear है? डिफरेंस कैसा हो रहा है 1D और 2D में? हाँ
सर एक बार रिपीट एक बार
एक
रिपीट
बार
yes, sir.
ओके normally in 2D element the most common type of shape is nothing but this triangular shape, and we call this element as a CST element, that is constant strain triangular element. This CST element is having three nodes. It is derived from one dimensional element. If you take three 1D element, three 1D linear element, you can form a one CST triangular element. For example, see over here, this is one dimensional linear element, one dimensional linear element, one dimensional linear element. If you combine these three one dimensional linear element, you can form one two-dimensional CST element. Yes or no? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Fine. So I will denote this triangular element to be one element. But if I am talking in terms of 1D, I have to take three individual separate elements. If I am talking about 2D, this complete triangle is one element. ये दोनों में डिफरेंस है, ये आपको समझ में आना चाहिए. ठीक है, आगे बढ़े. हेलो.
हाँ सर.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now there are many forms of CST element. I have shown you this is one form. Second form is this form. It is also known as linear strain triangular element or LST element. What is the difference between CST and LST? In LST, you are getting one extra node on each of the side of the triangle. See? Node 1, node 2, node 3. In between node 1 and 2, if you take one more node. In between node 2 and 3, if you take one more node. In between 1 and 3, if you take one more node. Then such type of element. This is one single element containing 6 nodes. This is one single element containing 6 nodes, which is known as linear strain triangular element. It is also known as quadratic displacement triangle. Clear है difference between CST and LST? कोई doubt? Hello.
No, sir. No, sir.
Right? So can you tell me, if I am having a 2D problem, if I take LST into account and I solve the problem, second time if I take CST into account and if I solve the problem, in which case my accuracy level will be higher? If I take LST element or if I
Sir,
take
LST, sir.
Hello? Yes?
Sir, LST.
Yes. If I take LST element, my degree of accuracy will be higher. Why? Because I am discretizing my problem into more number of nodes. More number of values I will get. Fine. Okay. There is one more variety of this triangular element that is known as QST element, which is called quadratic strain triangular element. Now, what is the difference between QST and LST? If you add on each sides of triangle two nodes. Earlier on in LST, in between 1 and 3 one node was there, in between 1 and 2 one node was there. Now if in between 1 and 3 if I introduce two nodes, in between 3 and 2 if I introduce two more nodes, in between 1 and 2 if I introduce two more nodes, that means what I am doing, I am increasing the level of accuracy. And then that type of element is known as quadratic strain triangular element. This is one single QST element consisting of 9 nodes. It is also known as cubic displacement triangular element. Is it clear difference between CST, LST and QST? कोई डाउट है किसी को?
नहीं सर, क्लियर है.
Okay, we will solve the problems related to QST, LST and CST elements in module number 3. Okay, fine. Now, again, one more common type of two-dimensional element is your four-noded rectangular element. This is one single element consisting of 4 nodes, and all the 4 nodes are at the 4 corners. So it is a 4-noded rectangular element. These figures are some varieties of 4-noded rectangular elements. See, this is one variety. In this element, what I am doing, I am introducing one node extra on each and every sides of rectangle as well as on the middle part also. See, if this is node 1, node 4, in between 1 and 4 I have introduced one node over here, in between 3 and 4 I have introduced one node over here, and so on. Again, in between this 1 and 4 you can add two more nodes. Fine. This is the second variety of four-noded rectangular, second variety of rectangular element. This is the third variety. Here, what I am taking? Only I am taking node along the vertical sides of the rectangle. See, only I am taking nodes along the vertical sides of the rectangle. Third variety. This is the fourth variety. Here, what I am doing? I am taking. Can you tell me what is the difference between this second diagram and this fourth diagram? Can you tell me the difference between this second diagram and this fourth diagram? क्या difference है?
Sir, there are 4 nodes on each line element.
There are 4 nodes on each line elements. Yes, but if you see here, there are total 1, 2, 3. 3 rows of 4 nodes in this diagram. But in this diagram, if you see row number 1, row number 2, row number 3, row number 4. 4 rows of 4 nodes. Clear? So can you tell me out of these 5 diagrams, diagram number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of these 5 elements, which element is most suitable for analysis purpose? First one, second one, third one, fourth one or fifth
Third
one?
one, sir. Third one.
थर्ड वन। अगर थर्ड वन लोगे तो यहाँ पे तो कोई नोड नहीं है, यहाँ पे
Sir,
तो
आप
कोई नोड नहीं है,
सेकंड वाले को
Sir, second one.
सेकेंड वन यू विल टेक, सी इन द सेकेंड डायग्राम।
नहीं सर, आप वो ऊपर वाला मतलब रेक्टेंगल भी पकड़े थे, इसलिए थर्ड बोले।
देखो, एलिमेंट आपको डिसाइड करना है, आप डिजाइन कर रहे हो, आप एक शाफ्ट को डिजाइन कर रहे हो, तो आप डिजाइन इंजीनियर हो, आपको मैंने एलिमेंट दे दिया है, एक ये एलिमेंट है, ये दूसरा एलिमेंट, ये तीसरा एलिमेंट, चौथा एलिमेंट, पांचवा एलिमेंट। आपको इन्हीं 5 एलिमेंट को यूज करके आपको अपने शाफ्ट को डिस्क्रिटाइज करना है। तो कौन सा वाला आप यूज करोगे? जाहिर सी बात है, मैं फर्स्ट सेकंड ये थर्ड वाला मैं एलिमेंट यूज करूंगा। क्यों? क्योंकि मैं इसमें डिग्री ऑफ एक्यूरेसी मुझे ज्यादा मिलेगी। क्यों मिलेगी? क्योंकि मैंने पूरे एलिमेंट को बहुत ज्यादा नोड्स में डिवाइड किया है, हाँ कि ना? अगर आप ये एलिमेंट यूज करोगे तो आपका
Yes, sir.
जो एक्यूरेसी लेवल होगा, आपका जो कैलकुलेशन लेवल होगा हर एक एलिमेंट के लिए, मान लो आप अपने शाफ्ट को टोटल 50 इस टाइप के रेक्टेंगुलर एलिमेंट्स में डिवाइड कर रहे हो, तो अगर एक एलिमेंट में टोटल 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 नोड है, तो 50 सिमिलरली 50 रेक्टेंगुलर एलिमेंट में कितना नोड होगा? 50 इंटू 16। तो आप आसानी से, कोई भी अगर आपको पूछेगा कि भाई शाफ्ट पे एट एक्स इक्वल टू 0.258 मीटर पे क्या हो रहा है, कहां पे बेंडिंग ज्यादा है, कहां पे बेंडिंग कम है, तो अगर आप ये एलिमेंट को यूज करोगे तो आप बता सकते हो, है कि ना? हेलो हेलो
हाँ सर।
Fine. So that's why I will use this element because this will give more accuracy. ठीक है, किसी को कोई डाउट यहां तक? आगे बढ़े। हेलो, कोई डाउट है यहां तक किसी को?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Let us move forward. Again, there is a special type of rectangular element in FEM, and that special type of rectangular element we call it as serendipity family of rectangular element. SERENDIPITY. Serendipity. What is this serendipity rectangular element? These elements are having nodes only along the external boundaries. देखो, सेरेंटिविटी रेक्टेंगुलर एलिमेंट वो रेक्टेंगुलर एलिमेंट होता है जिसमें कि नोड आपको मिलेगा ओनली एक्सटर्नल बाउंड्रीज पे। देखो, अगर मैं देखूं फर्स्ट एलिमेंट को, कहां पे नोड लोकेटेड है? नोड इज लोकेटेड ओनली एट द एक्सट्रीम कॉर्नर पॉइंट और एट द वर्टेक्स पॉइंट ऑफ दिस रेक्टेंगल। इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द सेकेंड डायग्राम, this is a serendipity rectangular element. Why? Because nodes are located at each corner, as well as if I take this particular line element, a node is located over here also. If I take this diagram, this third diagram, will I call it as a serendipity rectangular element? Or if I
No, sir.
take, hello?
No, sir. No, sir.
I will not call it. Why? Because यहाँ पे आपने नोड एलिमेंट के बीच में भी लिया है, एलिमेंट के बीच में भी लिया है। आपको सेरेंडिपिटी एलिमेंट, कोई भी रेक्टेंगुलर एलिमेंट तभी सेरेंडिपिटी एलिमेंट होगा जब आप नोड को उसके बाउंड्री के अलोंग लोगे। वो बाउंड्री वर्टेक्स पॉइंट भी हो सकता है या फिर वो एज पॉइंट भी हो सकता है, बट ऑलवेज यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दैट if you want to deal with serendipity element, if you want to solve the problem related to serendipity element, you have to take nodes, that too at the boundary. और वो बाउंड्री आपका ट्रायंगुलर एलिमेंट, अगर मैं ट्रायंगल, ये जो एलिमेंट है ये सेरेंडिपिटी एलिमेंट नहीं है। रेक्टेंगुलर एलिमेंट में अगर आप कोई नोड को बाउंड्री पॉइंट पे लोगे तो उसे हम सेरेंडिपिटी एलिमेंट बोलेंगे, तो फिर आप बोलोगे कि ये भी सेरेंडिपिटी एलिमेंट है। नहीं, serendipity element is only defined for rectangular elements, it is not defined for triangular elements. Clear है? Hello,
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay. There is one more variety of two-dimensional element, that is quadrilateral element, having four nodes: node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4. This is one single element having four nodes, which is a quadrilateral element. हम इसको कहां पे यूज करते हैं? They are also known as isoparametric element. इसका एक दूसरा नाम भी है, that is isoparametric element. We use such kind of elements in that situation where you have to use the same function for defining the geometries and nodal unknowns. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ये आपको पता करना है कि नोडल पॉइंट 1 का डिस्प्लेसमेंट कितना है, नोडल पॉइंट 2 का डिस्प्लेसमेंट कितना है, तो आप एक अप्रोक्सीमेटिंग फंक्शन चूज करते हो जिसको कि आप शेप फंक्शन बोलते हो. अगर वो शेप फंक्शन हर एक नोडल पॉइंट के लिए सेम शेप फंक्शन अगर आप चूज करो, प्लस एंटायर ज्योमेट्री के लिए भी अगर वो सेम शेप फंक्शन सेम है, देन दैट टाइप ऑफ एलिमेंट वी कॉल इट एज isoparametric element or quadrilateral element, which you will study more in detail in module number 4. क्या क्लियर है quadrilateral element क्या एलिमेंट है?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. Okay, now again if you see, quadrilateral element can be generated using several triangular element. कैसे? देखो, मेरे पास ये quadrilateral element है 1 2 3 4. If I join node 1 to node 3, now I can say that this is what? This is a 3 noded triangular element. दो triangular element मिलके एक quadrilateral element बना कि नहीं बना? This is triangular element number 1 containing node 1, 2 and 3. This is triangular element number 2 containing node 1, 4 and 3. Clear है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if you see the same problem, मैं क्या कर रहा हूं? मैं एवरी टाइम एक्यूरेसी लेवल को बढ़ा रहा हूं ताकि मेरा आंसर परफेक्ट आंसर आए. फाइन. Here what I am doing, the same problem, I am making it a quadrilateral element by using 4 different triangular elements. This is triangular element number 1 having node 1, 2 and 5. This is triangular element number 2 having node 2, 5, 3. This is third triangular element having node 3, 5, 4. This is fourth triangular element having node 4, 1 and 5. So this is a quadrilateral element composed by 4 triangular 2D element. Similarly, if you see this element, this is again a quadrilateral element or isoparametric element composed of 4 triangular element. But which type of triangular element? It is LST triangular element. How I came to know that it is LST triangular element? Because see, in each and every triangular element, middle point you are having one node. So it is a isoparametric element which is framed by 4 LST elements. And if I see this particular isoparametric element, it is a quadrilateral element made by 4 CST element. Why CST? Because CST element is having node only at the corner points of the triangle. Clear है? कोई
Yes,
डाउट
sir.
है?
No, sir.
ओके. बाकी लोगों को कोई डाउट? कैसे ये फ्रेम हो रहा है? हेलो, बाकी लोगों को कोई डाउट है?
No, sir. No, sir.
ओके फाइन. और आगे बढ़ते हैं और हम लोग डिग्री ऑफ एक्यूरेसी को बढ़ाते हैं बाय कंसीडरिंग 3 डायमेंशनल एलिमेंट्स. इफ I want to solve some 3D kind of problem. Fine. अच्छा, before that 3D problem, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था कि 1 डायमेंशनल एलिमेंट में हायर ऑर्डर एलिमेंट भी होता है. Similarly, 2 डायमेंशनल एलिमेंट में भी we will be having higher order elements. Higher order 2 dimensional elements. That means If I want to find out what is the nature of that element, what is the nature of that element in between two nodes, I have to use higher order approximating functions or shape functions. That means of the form f of xy is equal to x square y square plus xy plus constant c, or x cube y cube plus x square y square plus xy plus c. Fine. Likewise, we can get several higher order elements. This is what? This is a quadratic 6-noded element. This is a cubic 9-noded element. How you can say that this is a cube, this is a quadratic? You have to analyze, you have to solve it. And then you can come to the conclusion that yes, this is following a cubic pattern, this is following a quadratic pattern. This is what? This is a quadratic 8-noded elements. This is what? This is a cubic 12-noded element. Where we use such higher order two-dimensional elements, we use in those geometry which are having some curved surfaces. For example, say you want to discretize this problem by FEM. So here, can you use simple CST, LST, serendipity rectangular elements to discretize your model?
No, sir.
You cannot use, because here you can see one curved portion is coming. So how you can discretize? You can discretize like this. You can discretize like this. Like this. Now, if I consider, say, this particular element, if I consider, say, this particular element, it is of the shape somewhat like this. It is neither a CST element, nor an LST element, nor a serendipity element, but it is what? It is a two-dimensional higher order element. It can be a quadratic 6-node element, it can be a cubic 9-node element, it can be a quadratic 8-node element. Depends upon the user, how much node he is taking, how much number of nodes he is taking. Understood? That means I can solve this problem by taking node at the 4 corner points. I can solve the same element by taking node at the middle point. More number of nodes also I can add. Now it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I can tell that okay, this element is a higher order 2D element of the form this. It can be a quadratic 8-node element. आया समझ में? कोई डाउट किसी को यहाँ तक? Okay, fine. Next variety of elements we deal in FEM is axis symmetric elements. Axis symmetric elements. क्या कोई मेरे को बोल सकता है नाम समझ के क्या हो सकता है axis symmetric elements? नाम से क्या समझ में आता है कि axis symmetric element क्या हो सकता है?
Sir, it is symmetrical to the axis or passing through.
Yes, I am having a geometry. Let us take this geometry. Let me erase everything. Wait. Let us take a geometry somewhat of shape. Say of this geometry. This is what? This is a circular ring. Assume that this is a circular ring. You have to use the concept of FEM to discretize the given problem. And you can see that this is an axis symmetric problem. If you take this axis, say if you take this axis, object is symmetrical. This side is symmetry, this side is symmetry. If you take this vertical axis also, again the object is symmetrical. This side is also symmetry, this side is also symmetry. In order to deal such problems, how I can divide or how I can classify the elements for this problem? For that, we normally use this axis symmetric elements. They are also known as ring type elements. These elements are useful for the analysis of axis symmetric problems, such as analysis of cylindrical storage tanks. The storage tanks in which you store liquid, gas, fluid, that you can analyze by axis symmetric elements. Shaft also you can analyze by axis symmetric elements. Rocket nozzles, etc. you can analyze by axis symmetric elements. The speciality of axis symmetric element is that these elements you can construct it from 1 and 2 dimensional elements. This is what? This is a part of a ring element. That means if I cut this element, say if I cut from here and if I cut from here, now this ring element will look like this. This ring element will look somewhat like this. This element or this cut section part is nothing but this part. Fine. Now you have to discretize it. How you can discretize it? You can discretize it with the help of rectangular element, with the help of serendipity element, with the help of CST element, LST element, QST element. Here I have used which part? Here I have used your LST element to discretize the model. That means this is, say, that axis. Now I can discretize it like this also, like this. That means this is one node, this is second node, this is third node, backside, which will not be visible to you from the front view. This node, this is what, when I am using simple CST element to discretize the problem. I can use LST element also. That means in between I have to again add one node. In between I have to again add one node. In between again I have to add one node. See, in this diagram I have did. Can you see? Likewise, here I have shown only 1, 2, 3 elements. 3 LST elements I have shown for the cut section part of a ring. I can divide this cut section part of a ring into thousands, into millions LST elements. Likewise, आया समझ में क्या होता है एक्सिस सिमेट्रिक एलिमेंट्स?
Yes, sir.
बाकी लोगों को कोई डाउट किसी को?
No, sir.
Okay. So the main objective is you have to see the problem. You have to see the geometry of the problem. On the basis of geometry, you have to decide. If you are using one-dimensional element, many elements are available in 1D. Which element you will choose? If you are going for 2D element, if you are solving a 2D problem, which 2D element you will choose to discretize your problem? If you are solving a 3D element, which many varieties are there, so which 3D element you will choose to discretize the problem? It is not necessary that with single QST element you can discretize your entire problem. No, you can in that same single problem multiple times you have to use QST element, multiple times you have to use CST element, multiple times you have to use LST element, multiple times you have to use serendipity element. Choice will depend upon the shape and size of the geometry. The last one is 3-dimensional elements. These elements are used when it becomes necessary to perform 3-dimensional stress analysis. Sigma x, sigma y, sigma z. If you want to find out for each element at each and every node, then you have to concentrate on 3D elements. These 3D elements have corner nodes and straight sides. Normally, nodes in 3D elements, nodes are present at the corners and sides are normally straight for simplicity purpose. Common type of three-dimensional element is a tetrahedron element. This is one single tetrahedron element consisting of four nodes. One, two, three, four nodes. If you see the second diagram, this is a rectangular prism element. This is a rectangular prism element. What is a rectangular prism? Rectangular prism is having top and the bottom face shape should be rectangle, then only we will call. Similarly, side face, both the two side face as well as top and the bottom face, if the shape is same, if the shape is rectangle, it will be a rectangular prism element. If the shape is triangular, it will be a triangular prism element.
Sir, a rectangular prism has a rectangular base and triangular sides.
No, if you see a brick,
Yes, sir. This is a
brick,
cuboid, sir. This is a cuboid.
yes, this is a kind of cuboid, you can say, but you can say that if you consider this node 5, 6, 7, 8, this is a rectangle with wider edges. 1, 2, 6, 5 is a rectangle of narrower edges. You can say like that. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So if you see a brick is what? Brick is an example of a rectangular prism element. All the faces, top face, bottom face, side face, is made up of rectangle. Fine. So this type of element we also call it as brick element, BRICK. Either you can call it as brick element or you can call it as rectangular prism element, having total 8 nodes. Why? Because 3D element is normally 3D element is having nodes at the corner ends. Now node 1, node 2, node 3, 4, node 5, node 6, node 7, node 8. 3 axis, x axis, y axis, z axis. Similarly, likewise, one dimensional and two dimensional element. In three dimensional element, we can also have higher order elements. If we take the higher order approximating function or shape functions, we can get higher order element. So this is one of the example of say 3D quadratic higher order element. It can be a 3D cubic higher order element and so on. Is the thing clear? One dimensional element, two dimensional element, three dimensional element, difference between CST, LST, QST element, difference between normal rectangular element and serendipity elements. All these things are clear. क्या किसी को कोई doubt है?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Since we are left with 5 more minutes, so one last topic I will discuss, that is the difference between FEM versus FDM. Then from the next class onwards, we have to solve the numerical problems. Okay. Let us discuss. It will take hardly 5 to 10 minutes. FEM versus FDM. That means finite element method versus finite difference method. Which one is best and which one we will use? What is FDM? FDM is finite difference method and FEM is your finite element method. The first difference between FDM and FEM is FDM makes point-wise approximation to the governing equation of the problem. That is, it ensures continuity only at the nodal points. And what does FEM do? FEM makes piecewise approximation. That is, it ensures continuity at the node points as well as along the side of the element. That means what is point number 1? Point number 1 is, if I consider an element, this is element, I have discretized this problem into several, say, square elements. That means this is one square element, this is second square element, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth square element, or you can call it as rectangular element, first rectangular element, second rectangular element, third rectangular element, with 4 nodes at the corner points. Fine. Now, if you use the concept of FDM, what is FDM? FDM makes point-wise approximation. That means if you consider this particular element and if you consider this particular side of element, FDM will give you the result only at the corner points. That means for this particular element, if you consider this side, what is the deflection at this point? What is the deflection at this corner point? FDM will tell you only this. FDM will not tell you what is happening in between the sides or in between the boundary of the element. But if you consider the case of FEM, FEM not only tells you what is happening at each corner point of the sides of the boundary, it will also tell you that what is happening inside the boundary of the element by the use of approximation functions. FDM don't know about approximation functions. So that's why FDM can only calculate the unknown values at the extreme end point of the element. But if you are interested in what is happening in the boundary of this particular element inside the boundary, that FDM will not tell you. That FEM will tell you. So that's why FDM is used for point-wise approximation and FEM makes piece-wise approximation. This is one piece, it will approximate. This is one piece, it will approximate. आया समझ में पहला डिफरेंस बिटवीन FDN and FEM?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, okay. Second point, what is the difference? FDM do not give the values at any point except at the node points. ठीक है, मैंने आपको पहले ही बोला था कि FDM क्या है, जो भी अननोन वैल्यू आपको निकालना है वो खाली आपको देगा नोडल एक्सट्रीम नोडल पॉइंट्स में, इन बिटवीन में आपको कोई वैल्यू नहीं दे पाएगा. क्यों? क्योंकि उसमें पॉइंट वाइज अप्रोक्सीमेशन होता है. It does not give any approximating function to evaluate the basic values such as deflections in case of solid mechanics problem, because FDM को पता ही नहीं है कि approximating function क्या है, shape function क्या है, इसीलिए वो बता नहीं पाएगा कि इस ज्योमेट्री कि तुम आपका जो ज्योमेट्री के अंदर में क्या हो रहा है. Fine. Whereas FEM can give the values at any point. Why? Because FEM, however, the values obtained at the point other than the nodes are used by using suitable interpolation functions or shape functions, because FEM knows the concept of shape functions. This is the second point. Third point. हाँ बोलो.
Sir, that means in FDM, if we give the number of nodes as equal to the number of electrons in a material, we can exactly find the exact value of the answer of any value, sir, stress or any bend is there or not.
Whether you take FDM or you take FEM, no one gives you the exact value. Everyone will give you approximate value near to your solution. Fine. But FDM normally we don't use. Why? Because FDM will give you the result only at the extreme nodal points. मान लो अगर आप ये एलिमेंट लेते हो, इस एलिमेंट का आपको पता करना है कि भाई इस बाउंड्री पे मिडिल पॉइंट पे क्या हो रहा है, कितना डिफ्लेक्शन है, कितना स्ट्रेस है, वो एफडीएम नहीं बता पाएगा आपको. उसके लिए एफईएम पे आना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि एफईएम के पास अप्रोक्सीमेटिंग फंक्शन होता है कि अगर आप एलिमेंट के बीच में कहीं पे कुछ आपको पता करना है, स्ट्रेस का वैल्यू, स्ट्रेन का वैल्यू, ठीक है, टेम्परेचर कितना हीट हुआ, एलिमेंट का बीच में कितना हीट हुआ, वो एफईएम आपको बताता है by the help of shape functions. That's why FEM is more accurate as compared to FDM. ठीक है?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Okay. What is third point? Yes, third point. FDM makes stair type approximation to sloping and curved boundaries, whereas FEM consider the sloping boundaries exactly if curved elements are used. That means मान लो मेरा ये स्ट्रक्चर है, ठीक है। अगर आप FDM यूज करते हो, मान लो कि आपका ये एक नोड, ये दूसरा नोड, ये तीसरा नोड, ये फोर्थ नोड, अगर आप FDM यूज करते हो, ठीक है, तो आपको पता है कि इस पॉइंट पे जो भी अननोन वैल्यू आपको निकालना है आप निकाल सकते हो, इस पॉइंट पे जो भी अननोन वैल्यू आपको पता है वो आप निकाल सकते हो, ठीक है। लेकिन यहाँ पे तो कर्व्ड बाउंड्री आ गया, तो यहाँ पे तो FDM बता नहीं पाएगा कि इधर क्या हो रहा है, इधर क्या हो रहा है, इधर क्या हो रहा है। तो FDM क्या करता है, इस पॉइंट को इस पॉइंट से स्ट्रेट लाइन से जोड़ देगा, फिर यह बताएगा कि हाँ कि इन दोनों के बीच में लीनियर प्रोफाइल फॉलो होगा, जो कि इनकरेक्ट है, जो कि पॉसिबल नहीं है। लेकिन FEM क्या करेगा, FEM यहाँ पे अप्रोक्सीमेटिंग शेप फंक्शन लगाएगा कि ये क्यूबिक नेचर को फॉलो कर रहा है, ये कर्व बाउंड्री, या क्वाड्रेटिक नेचर को फॉलो कर रहा है, या हायर ऑर्डर के नेचर को फॉलो कर रहा है। अकॉर्डिंगली वो बता पाएगा कि ये नेचर कैसा होगा, ये कर्व बाउंड्री कैसा होगा, जो FDM आपको बता नहीं पाएगा। तो FDM क्या करेगा, डायरेक्टली इस नोडल पॉइंट से इस नोडल पॉइंट के बीच में एक स्ट्रेट लाइन खींच के बता देगा कि ये लीनियर अप्रोक्सीमेशन है। आया समझ में दिस थर्ड पॉइंट?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Fourth point is FDM needs larger number of nodes to get good results while FEM needs fewer nodes. Definitely अगर आपको FDM से प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करना है, ठीक है, तो FDM में आपको बहुत सारे नोड्स लेना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि FDM बताता है कि एट द बाउंड्री पॉइंट, एट द वर्टेक्स पॉइंट पे आपको आप नोड ले सकते हो, लेकिन FEM में आप इन बिटवीन कहीं पर भी आप नोड ले सकते हो। फाइन, so if you are using FDM you have to use more number of nodes to get the result. If you are using FEM, fewer nodes you can use to get the results. Fine. And the last point is, with FDM fairly complicated problems can be handled, whereas FEM can handle all complicated problems. Definitely, क्योंकि FDM नॉर्मली पॉइंट वाइज अप्रोक्सीमेशन फॉलो करता है, और जहां जहां पे कर्व बाउंड्री आएगा वहां पे वो स्ट्रेट टाइप और स्टेयर टाइप अप्रोक्सीमेशन फॉलो करेगा। तो जाहिर सी बात है कि FDM मैं कब यूज करूंगा, जब मेरा ज्योमेट्री सिंपल ज्योमेट्री होगा, और अगर ज्योमेट्री कॉम्प्लेक्स ज्योमेट्री होगा तब मैं FDM यूज नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मुझे वहां पे यूज करना पड़ेगा FEM. This is the overall difference between FEM and FDM. Is the concept clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with this I am just ending the today's lecture. In the next lecture there are two more small topics are there, that is advantages of finite element analysis and application areas of finite element analysis. After that we will be entering into the numerical problems of module number 1. That is,
Sir, will you share the PPT, sir?
I will share the PPT once the module is completed. But what I will do is that in that Google Classroom, if you have joined, I will share the recorded lecture by the day end.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So if you haven't given your attendance, please mark your attendance and you can leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.